was it that led you to say, I'm gonna rhyme? Because you were already in the street getting money before you started rhyming, right?
Yeah, I was hustling, making a couple dollars, working with Cam and them, trying to figure out the other lanes and making money. But the other lanes were making money were not as fruitful as making music at that time when Cam and Mace were doing it. And just watching them making so much money, I'm like, I got to figure this thing out. And Cam and Mace, or Mace particularly, was the one who sat me down and showed me how to make an actual rhyme.
What
And
did
I took that knowledge with me, and now you got Jim Jones.
what did he teach you? How did he teach you how
Maybe
to make?
understand what a bar was, maybe understand what a metaphor was, maybe understand how to rhyme from one bar to the next bar, maybe understand the actual ins and outs of making a rhyme from a Harlem perspective. Because everybody in around the country has their different way of they doing music. As you hear,
Sure.
Atlanta has a sound, LA has a sound, Miami has a sound. So Harlem has its own sound too. And we have a way that we do our music compiled of these bars. You know what I mean? These metaphoric bars that we turn into braggadocious lines that make people be like, damn, these niggas is fly as fuck.
Yeah. Yo, I loved Mace's debut album to death. And it
Yes.
was like it was polarizing because people were like, I don't know about Mace, he a little da 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 da. I'm like, yo, fuck that shit. He
One of
got
my first albums also, I remember I got my first Acura when Mace had his first album, and we used to bump that all the time when putting girls in the car and things like that. So, you
he
know.
had concepts, he had fly rhymes. I love the way I loved his flow and his style and like I'm like, yo, I've listened to the record 10,000 times. So, you know what I mean? I love that shit.
Shouts to
Uh,
Mace.
um, like just in general, you know, you've been doing this for years. What makes a good MC? What is good MCing to you?
Good MCing
Yeah.
depends on where you at. Um, some people can stand on the stage and captivate a crowd. Other artists can't do any of it. Other artists could just sing their records on stage and make the crowd hype. Some people don't need to play one record at all and still get the same out of the crowd that they would if they was to play their hit record. It just depends on who you are and how impressionable you are to the people. That comes with a lot of charisma. You know what I mean? Like you got to be able to finesse the people per se. Like you know, when you talk to the people, you need to have people intrigued, I guess, a bit to want to be somewhat like you or want to walk in your footsteps and make the girls want to scream for you, make the guys want to be like you. I mean, there's a lot to it. You know, what I mean? I just wouldn't put anybody on stage and hopefully they'll get it. I mean,
That
shit.
to me very much describes you and what you've been able to do in terms of the charisma, in terms of the intrigue, because you seem to have like a rap lifestyle that we wanted to like know what's going on with Jim. Like you were a star before We Fly High was already like, yo, I don't, the records is cool, but what does he do when he leaves the booth? What does he do when he's like, you know, in the hood? What does he do? You know what I mean? Like you create this whole, it was this whole lifestyle thing around you that was compelling.
Yes, the mystique of who we are was, and still to this day, you know, this I know there's a lot of questions, a lot of things people still wonder about Jim Jones, and you know, shit. It's like that. You dig? It's always gonna be like that. I'm a unique person, I guess, within this industry. I've been blessed and you know to still be here. You know what I mean, so
I mean, part of it is just the swag. Part of it is like, you know, what was he doing before he was in the game? Part of it was like the way that you dressed. You know, you had kind of a rock star approach to fashion. It wasn't
Mhm.
the typical shit everybody rappers were wearing.
Nope.
It was partly that you were in this crew, you know, you had this fraternity, you know, and like multiple men in the fraternity were like stars on their own. So all that was compelling. There's a whole bunch of shit to it.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I mean, shit. I mean, I can't say that. You know, sometimes you lucky, sometimes you're not. But a lot of the stuff that we people see from the diplomats, I would say per se, is like premeditated things that me and Cam have thought about for a long time in the beginning, how we wanted to be seen by the people, and that mystique just kept rolling, kept going like a snowball effect and got bigger and bigger.
Well, wait, what was that? What was it that you had planned that worked out?
Well, for who we was coming up, the rough around the edges and the neighborhood Harlem, coming out of Harlem, we wanted to make sure people understood what we represented, from our hustler aspect to how the rough neighborhood that we came out to, how smart we was. Like, just was it's a bunch of things that we wanted to make sure that people seen when we were doing premeditated murder. NWA were probably one of our favorite groups, as we would sit down and tape videos on the VCR tapes and just sit down and study the game before we actually got our chance. And we would call it premeditated murder. That was one of me and Killer's little sayings and shit like that. And as we started to attain the fame and the success, and some of these things that we were talking about started to happen, we started checking them off our bucket list. We would just laugh like, we said this was going to happen. You know what I mean? Some of the things we kind of planted like that. I mean, they say you could will yourself to 1 million, and that's what we were doing.
Well, wait, what else was on the bucket list? Make 1 million. What else?
Uh, Become some of the biggest rap stars the music has ever seen. Be as influential as NWA. Just, just climb to the top of the top of the tier of being in the rap culture at that point in time. Everything was about being one of the biggest rappers from coming out of Harlem.